Oh yeah, rhythm and ritual. Last time was the that was the last one. I should have probably updated my bio. I'm Dr. Dan. Thank you all for coming in, and you are sitting in on Rhythm and Ritual, where we are going to discover some of the secrets of personal success with one simple method. All right, and I am a doctor of Chinese medicine. I'm also an ordained Taoist priest. I'm a 17th generation Zhang Sun Feng is the man who started Tai Chi. And so I've been doing the internal martial arts for just about 20 years now. And that was the reason why I got into Chinese medicine. And from that, I've taken and gotten professional certificates. I'm a professor at an acupuncture school in Oakland, and I'm just an overall fun guy. All right. So, rhythm and ritual. Here's something that is an idiom that I was taught when training in martial arts: slow breath, calm heart. Calm heart, peaceful spirit. Peaceful spirit, happy human. Happy human, happy humanity. This is something that has become a rhythm of mine, something that I repeat to myself almost like a mantra. Whenever I get myself worked up, I think, okay, where's my breath? Can I feel my heart? If I can feel my heart, that's probably not a good thing, right? Palpitations, you don't want that. That means I need to calm down. And then peaceful spirit. Peaceful is a state of mind, right? That's per person. There's no such thing as like global peace. There'd be like individual peace that could conclude in global peace, but starting from within. And this mindset is what underpins the three treasures of Chinese medicine: Jing, Qi, Shen, or essence, energy, and spirit. You're looking at the material world in the Jing realm. This is the thing that nourishes our tissues, going out in the sun, going swimming, spending time with our loved ones. And then we have the bridge, the Qi, the energetic world. This is what promotes metabolism. It's that on and off, the pumping that happens in our lives that sustain our quality of being. And then, of course, the mysterious Shen, the spirit. This governs the body. In Chinese medicine, we say that the yi, the intent, guides the qi, and the qi moves the body. So whatever action you thought you were going to take, you probably had that thought formulating way before the action occurred. And so that's just another example of mind over matter. And in this case here, that's what we're going to be looking at today, because looking at the hierarchy of Chinese medicine, we have earth-based medicine, and we also have human-based and celestial or heaven-based medicine. Now, what? I mean, medicine's medicine, right? Would you agree or disagree?
Disagree. Well,
right. This is a psychic fairy. Yeah. I would hope you disagree. Okay. So, looking at the earth side of it, like acupuncture, herbology, massage. I mean, this is surgeons. This is your nurse practitioner. These are specialized skills. In other words, this could be considered hell medicine. Why? Because this is medicine that needs someone with an expertise to take care of you. And if, let's say, you are out on a trip and you can't find that expert, then you are at the mercy of this profession, not knowing how to take care of oneself, which takes us to the next level, looking at Yang Shen. Yang Shen is lifestyle. That's what rhythm and ritual is about. That's what we're going to be exploring today, is how do we start nourishing our Yang Shen, making our lifestyle work for us so that we can have feng shui. Feng shui is just knowing what's going on in your environment. Yeah, it can be the arrangement of things around you, but it's really speaking to the environment and how you move, like wind and water. Feng meaning wind, shui meaning water. And as you watch, I'm sure this is peaceful for many, watching the wind move on the surface of water and how it can change direction suddenly. That is the beauty of feng shui in your life, being able to adapt to those changes and having a lifestyle, the Yongshin, to accommodate that. Follow me so far?
Yeah.
Excellent. And I like that you respond, because I'll call you out. Yes, very nice, very nice. Astrology. Now that you know how your environment's working, the bigger picture, looking at who knows what's in retrograde right now? I believe it's Venus, right? Mars just stopped and now Venus is in retrograde, right? So what does that mean, right? Well, learning about the astrology and learning about your relationship to the stars, that helps you to not need the earth-based medicines as often. Because if you know better, you can do better. And that there takes us to our next tier, which is education, right? Because if we know better, we do better, and then we can reach if you know, right, each one reach one, each one teach one, that builds culture. So now that you have a group of people that are always helping refine each other, you then start to find less and less serious conditions because there's always someone watching your back. Hey, I noticed that you have a limp. Oh, it's okay. I stepped on something. Hey, you know what? Go see so-and-so. They'll take care of you. No, it's okay. You don't need to come into work today. Go and see so-and-so. And prioritizing, stopping that little molehill turning into a mountain, right? So those are the 3 levels of Chinese medicine. So like if you're going in for acupuncture, herbology, massage, and all that, just know that that's the low level stuff, because that's like asking someone to like wipe your nose for you or feed you, because these are things that you can apply to yourself, like self-massage, learning about the different plants in your environment, whatnot. But that's why we focus on refining the lifestyle, because the human element we know is the bridge, and it's going to pull elements from the earth realm and elevate it through the celestial realm. And that's where we start being able to identify a ritual, things that we may unconsciously do, and start refining our rituals, the things that we somatically do. So before we get into like the meat and crux of it, you should know Chinese medicine is based on qi. Qi is this animating force. It's actually like the child of yin and yang. And yin and yang are birthed from this concept of wu ji, which is like this it's yin and yang together, inseparable and undefinable, and then it decided to separate, and then yin and yang occurred. But on earth there is no pure yin and there is no pure yang. There's always a little bit of each, and that's the Tai Chi symbol. And so when I say yin qi, gu qi, wei qi, these are types of qi. Qi is like a term we use, like color. It is to generalize this concept of red, green, blue, orange, right? And for somebody who was born blind, how would you describe to them a color? Right? We would have to try to create a relativity, right? Like red is hot, but it's also warm, but it can also be soft in certain textures. But does that really give justice to experiencing red, right? So that's like this concept of qi. And when you look at yin qi being nutritive qi from the food you eat, gu qi is the yin is running through the blood. It's the nourishment in the blood versus the gu qi, which is like an apple, and looking at the phytonutrients of that. That's the gu qi. And then wei qi, that's your immune system, the defensive qi. And so these are different types of ways in which we interact with our world. And that's why your qi, my qi, it's all qi. We are all qi, right? When we look down at the smallest level, even quantum mechanics will talk about how we are mostly empty space. And looking at that field, you realize, oh, that's what they were mapping the whole time in Chinese medicine. And so I try to tie these principles into things that we experience on a regular basis. And so this here is for those who, can you see you guys can see this okay? All right, so this is Inside Out characters, right? And in that movie, this Pixar movie, they personify different emotions to help children better understand how to deal with difficult, unproductive, big feelings. And so here, we need to differentiate, split hairs. Is there a difference between an emotion and a feeling? Yes, no? Yes, perhaps, kind of. They're kind of on the spectrum. Now, there's one that we can help and one that we cannot help. Emotions are a chemical reaction from our endocrine system, and they will trigger regardless of what's going on. If you have a breath in you, your endocrine system will likely, unless you have some pathological condition, of course, is going to produce an emotion. You cannot help your emotions. But how those emotions, once they get up into the wellspring at the top of the head and start following these pathways in our mind, those associations are feelings. And we can change the pathways based on, different factors, whether it be herbs or a better experience or having a mentor to walk you through something that's intimidating. These are all ways in which you're able to start to feel the difference between, like, I'm experiencing an emotion and I can choose not to express a feeling. Yes? Okay. So that's like the main part of this slide, like knowing that you are entitled to feel your emotions, but you are not entitled to always share your feelings. There's always consequences for your actions. Okay. So this is a lesson in discernment. And so also the other side of it is when you do express a big feeling and maybe it isn't as productive as you would like it to be, that can damage your qi. Qi moves in all different kinds of directions, and fear, shock scatters the qi. And you might have experienced that before. Like Anybody, show of hands, anybody ever come back to like a car or a place that wasn't left the way that you left it? And when you get to that thing and you're like, oh my God. I remember once I came back to a parking spot and there was no car in it. Yeah. And my energy scattered. I didn't know exactly what direction to go. I just was kind of like, right? And I froze. So when we go through stress, we need to also take note of how we react to it, right? So allostatic load. How many of you have heard this term before? Allostatic load. All stress is measured on this scale. All stress, physical stress, emotional stress. Isn't that true? That like mental stress, you can measure it on the allostatic load. So like we see it all the time in movies. They're like, oh, leave him. You don't let him sleep for 48 hours and keep throwing ice water in his face and tickle his feet with his feather, and then you'll be able to get the answer out of him, right? They are putting enough stress on his system to move that person from eustress, which is the performance zone. This is positive stress. These are the things like when you go to the gym and you're like, one more rep, or you're learning a language and you keep practicing that word that's hard to pronounce. These are the good types of stresses versus like being chased by a dog or someone being like, you should do it, pressuring you, right? These are different. Being able to differentiate what kind of stress am I under and how do I respond to the stress will help you to then have more flow in your rhythm and upgrade your rituals. Because if you're like in a constant state of fight, flight, freeze, or maybe fawn, then it's going to be very difficult to love oneself. Has anyone ever heard of that fourth F?
Nope.
Yeah, we've heard of fight and flight, yeah?
Freeze.
And freeze, right? Well, there's a fourth one, and it's fawn. This is the one that typically kind of goes under the wire because it's when somebody's real aggressive and they go, oh, it's okay. No, it's all right. I know you didn't mean to hit me. Here, take this. Would you like this? Would you like this instead? Instead of hitting me, why don't you take this? Fawning. And we may not even realize that we're doing it, but it's a defense mechanism when we are stressed. And so knowing how you may respond to your stress is going to be important for putting things together. So my favorite neighbor, he is probably the best when it comes to handling difficult, big emotions. And this quote in particular really touched me because when you talk about your feelings, they become less overwhelming, which is true. Then they also become less upsetting, which is also true because it's been out. But what really mattered to me, because less scary is like a state of mind, the people we trust with the important talk. I'd never heard that. The important talk can help us know that we are not alone. That important talk, like, oh yeah, how many people do we have in our lives to have that important talk? We can have superficial conversations. We can allude to what we're talking about, but having somebody who is going to be non-judgmental, have a critical eye, and be able to give you insight on what it is that is most helpful in your circumstance or a new, fresh look on what you're going through is essential. So that's why it's important to find your rhythm. Find your rhythm.
Oh.
He found his rhythm. So we're going to find our rhythm. So I sure hope that you are ready to do some Qigong. So get up if you can. Time to stand up if you can. Even you online, if you're live, you're going to be doing Qigong too. I bet you didn't know you were going to be doing Qigong today. Welcome to your body. Okay, so the way we start Qigong, we start with our feet together. Our right hand comes into a fist, left hand is flat, and this is how we salute and acknowledge that we ain't here to cause harm. We're here to love and show each other respect as we work on the same things. Good. Let your hands down by your side. You're going to soften your knees, and you're going to step out to the left, shoulders width. Now repeat after me. Ear, shoulder.
Ear, shoulder.
Ear, shoulder, hip.
Ear, shoulder, hip.
Ear, shoulder, hip, heel.
Ear, shoulder, hip, heel.
Good. That's going to be our guiding principle. Keeping the ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, hips over the
Heels.
Excellent. We're listening. Okay. So now what we're going to do is left hand goes over right, and we're going to be making circles on our belly, coming up on our right side, coming across the belly, and down on the left. Now, as we come down on the left, we're going to bend our knees just slightly, and we're going to twist as we come up on the right, across, down on the left. Inhale up, hold, exhale down. Now with Qigong, one of the secret principles, I would put my pinky up to show how important this is, but I'm enjoying how this feels, is having the tongue on the roof of your mouth and breathing only through your nose. If you can, let your belly expand as you inhale. And let your belly relax as you exhale. Some of you might be feeling the work. Like, many of us don't bend like this and twist like this too often. So now what we're going to do is, this is the last circle. We come to the center. Now, we are going to trace our left arm, and we're going to trace the energetic pathway. So what we do is we allow our left hand to come to our hip. Call this attitude. Any of you know about that? Okay. Then we're going to take this hand and we're going to wipe to the left shoulder. We're going to wipe down the inside to the ends of our fingers, then up the outside, over the shoulder, then down the inside, exhaling as we go down, inhaling as we come up. This is called meridian mapping. Right now, we are tracing our upper body channels like the heart, pericardium, here in the center, and the lung. And coming up the outside, we have a special channel called the Sanjiao, or the triple burner, small intestine and large intestine. Most of the time, whenever we're reaching for the back of our shoulder, is to get an itch. So this time you're doing it deliberately. Now we're going to switch hands. Now we're going down the inside of the right arm and up the outside of our right arm. And keep circling around. I just definitely wiped that microphone right off. I said, bye-bye amplification. Qigong was just too good. You might even feel a little bit of work. How often do you hold your arms out like this? Why lift weights if you can't hold your arms? Welcome to your body. Good. And once you get to the top of the shoulder, now we're going to bring that left hand to right here at the nape of the neck, and the right hand goes on top, and we're going to wipe across the top, across the chest. And then the hands come down to our back, and we're going to wipe down our back. And then let the hands come up, wiping across. Inhale, and we call this bird chest. Then turtle back, really round out your back. Inhale, exhale. Now we're going to go down our legs. Top of the foot, wiping up the inside of the legs. Good. Then down the backside. Exhaling as we go down. Inhaling as we come up. One more. I know the only time people bend over this many times is if they keep dropping their keys and they go, loud, loud, down. Okay. Next, then big circle. We're going to do 3 of them, just so you know. Number 2. Good. Take a moment to be completely still. No adjusting, no picking, no wiping, even if you got a wedgie. And relax. How often do we embrace stillness? Now, oh, you want to be done? That was only the first part. Back at it. Okay, the last part. We're just going to spread our feet just a little more than shoulders width. And we're just going to place our hands on our hips. And we're just going to rock left and right. Like you're peeking like, who that? Wait, who that? Y'all know this feeling? You done that before?
Yeah.
Good. If we can go left and right, that means that we can come to center and we can go belly bump, booty bump, belly bump, booty bump. Now, if you're sitting, what you're going to do is you're going to be looking up at the big tower, looking down at the little child, looking up at the big tower. Good. And for everyone else, now we're going to add all three of those ranges. So we're going to go left, booty bump, right, belly bump, left, booty bump, right, belly bump. I love it. Y'all are just like my toddlers when I teach them. They love it when I say booty and belly too. Yeah, exactly. Here is my handle. Here is my spout. Good. If we can go one direction, let's go the other direction. Now, some of us might have had an experience with meditation. Sometimes they use the bell to help conclude a session, right?
Yeah.
Or sound healing too. Good. So the way that we like to conclude our Qigong, we come to center and we bring our hands up, level with the heart, and the palms are facing each other like you're holding a beach ball against your chest. Good. Of all the Qigong moves, this one is probably the most potent. Anybody feel their arms yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, welcome to your body. All right. The way we conclude this, 3 gratitude circles. Repeat after me. Hands come down, making a big circle. Gratitude for my health.
Gratitude to
Gratitude for my health.
Gratitude for my practice.
Gratitude for my practice.
Gratitude for our community.
Gratitude for our community.
Left foot to right. Right hand in a fist. Left hand flat. Thank you all for participating in Qigong. Now you may have a seat. All right. And if you have a water bottle, make sure to drink. That's super important. Hydration is key. Okay. Now consider this. If we were trees, the outside of the tree, the part that you see is the youngest part, the youngest aspect of the tree. And yet the core of the tree is the oldest version of itself. So then looking at a person, the outside we see is the youngest version of ourselves. And our inner child is the oldest. It's been around, it's seen puberty. It remembers every instance of high school. It remembers college. It remembers your first job. It remembers your first date. The inner child knows so much, and that's why Taoists are constantly seeking that inner child. And that is the bridge between your rhythms and your rituals. You have to be curious like a child. But how do you reconnect with your mini-me? How many of you remember Austin Powers?
Yes.
Yeah, I used this one here because he had to lift his hands in order to give the quotes. And sometimes you have to motivate your inner child. You have to give it guidance. And just like we did this Qigong, you can get out of your adult mind and let your body have fun. And your inner child really starts to shine, especially when you start to find your rhythm. Children love rhythm. They'll make rhythms out of anything. Hey, mom, 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 right? I loved that game. Okay. So now that you consider, like we've done a little bit of movement, we've talked a little bit of philosophy, how do we design our rituals, right? Some people think it's as simple as like, pouring water in a dish and letting their birds hop around. But what that really means is sometimes we don't have a teacher or a guru or a mentor to walk us, or a seafood to walk us through the details necessary to have that aha. And we do our best. And there's nothing wrong with striving. But if you're running east to find a sunset, then, I mean, how successful will you be, right? Kind of got to know your orientation before you begin a task. So that's why it's important to design it. So in this context, ritual means lifestyle refinement, taking the aspects of things that are already occurring and making it enriched, making it better, rather than trying to scrap everything and say that you know nothing, and saying we're going to start you at ground one with things that are unfamiliar, that don't feel comfortable and don't bring you joy. That's health. That's what we're taught. That's how we're told. And we force ourselves, and then oddly enough, weird things start to happen in our lives because we're trying to be healthy, right? Like, I can't tell you the number of times I've encountered somebody who was under 50, who was doing all the right things and end up with some odd, strange cancer of some sort. And we lose them early. They always ate raw. They ran every day. They swam with their kids, and then they had this rare heart disease and died before 50. Well, how healthy were they? Were they actually healthy, or were they just following what they had been told? Because there's a big difference. And so that's why knowing thyself is the best medicine, and having a community of people who have your back. That's why these photos are here. These are our family photos from Qigong. We have free movement classes every Tuesday and Thursday, making it available to people to find self-care, self-defense, and self-esteem. And so this is just our motley crew, love them to death. And, you know, honestly, when you're looking at your lifestyle, you got to face a few things. And, you know, Grover here has a good point. You know, he talks about wanting to be a superhero in our lives, but sometimes pain or injury, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, can hold us back. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's still going to be there. And so with pain, you can learn to work with it or work against it, because pain is a really helpful tool and teacher, because like it's one of the life signs. If somebody falls down a cliff and they poke them with a needle and they don't react, that's not good. You poke them with a needle and they go, why'd you do that? I just fell down a cliff. You're like, okay, cool, they're alive, right? So sometimes I embrace pain. I recognize, oh, pain is the way my body is trying to communicate something to me. Now, I need to know if my body is telling me that this is a good pain or a bad pain. Now, good pains are things where you're like muscle sore from a nice workout, or maybe your arms are a little sore from doing these movements. Bad pain would be you leaving here and close your hand in the door. Like, that's not a good pain. Or, you know, like, or like you overdo it, overstretch, and then you feel a sharp pain in your shoulder and you keep pushing through the exercise. Sharp pain is never, ever, rarely is it a good thing. Very, very rarely. So that's why I offer you this simple 30% rule. If you recognize your 100% effort and you only put 30% of your effort into the things that you do, and you make that 30% count, that extra 70% becomes an energetic savings account for when you really need it. It becomes the NOS, where you push the button and boom, you're in overdrive. And it also compounds. So just like a savings account, it has like 100% APY compounding interest and a $0 buy-in. All you got to do is just keep using it. It's pretty great. So that's one way in which we can start to identify and look at pain. Now, y'all know this guy? He's my other neighbor. He's not so great. Okay, Peter Griffin, he just tripped in front of my house. And I am now going to offer him a few of the ways in which we manage pain in the clinic, but also being able to add these things as part of your ritual that eventually become rhythms. Because the objective of rhythm and ritual is to first identify how you move already with your rhythms, and then being able to identify what you already are prone to in your ritual. So then in your rituals, you can always add and subtract. And you don't have to go fast, because this is a lifetime's worth of accumulation. In Chinese, there is a term called Gong Fu. Gong Fu is the cultivation of a skill over a long period of time. That's where the TV show Kung Fu comes from. And anybody can have Gong Fu. It could be a chef, it could be a professional driver, it could even be a janitor. It's somebody who dedicates their time to refining that particular skill set. And that is that lifestyle refinement, finding the gung fu in the rituals that you take on. But you need someone to do that. So the first thing that I would do to manage that pain is get a massage. Okay? Why? It's not just the chopping actions and the range of motion. There are therapeutics in touch. Just the laying of hands. We know this just from Reiki. You don't even have to physically touch the person, and you can elicit change. So there's a lot of power in touch. And so you can come to our booth and you can come check out anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes worth of body work today. And we use Tuina, manual Chinese medicine, ways to utilize range of motion and different tools in order to elicit change or to overcome pain and sickness. Now, if let's say there is someone who is having like mental fatigue and they get easily overwhelmed, then this is a different kind of pain. This is where we might use brain food. Now, the creator of this was this woman who had developed a brain tumor, and her son is a chemist, and they worked together to formulate a natural powder that was divided up into, a sample, or not a sample, but like a serving size, so that she would not have to like accidentally overdo it, especially being compromised with this tumor. And within the year of her creating and using this product, she now has had that brain tumor surgery removal and was back on her feet in, less than 90 days, which is unheard of. And Christian over here, he's part of my team. He was there when he heard this. Like, I have never heard of this before. And so I started doing research into like what was in this product. And there's a lot of adaptogenic mushrooms, and adaptogens, they tend to take something that's not working and make it start working in your favor. And so when the synergy between the adaptogens come into play, it actually does have some form of result. So now I've been regularly using brain food. This has become a staple in my family's life, but also in our community's life, because for the students and whatnot who use Adderall or have like coffee addictions or anything like that, this is a nice alternative. Now, let's get into the fun one. If you're dealing with pain, many are not aware that you can use cannabinoids, but we can use cannabinoids that don't get you high. No euphoria, zero euphoria. You will have clarity. You could even have a drug test and come up clean because they are testing for THC. THC is the one that gives you that feeling. So here are primary cannabinoids. THC, like I mentioned, is the euphoria, but here's another one you might not have heard of, CBC. This is our mood gummy. This one triggers the midbrain to release adenamine. Adenamine is the precursor to an endorphin or an endo-opioid. Our body makes opiates and it makes cannabis. Endo versus outdo. That's my little joke. It's endo, E-N-D-O, versus phyto. Okay, so there's phytocannabinoids, which is what you get from the plants, and endo, what our body makes. Then CBG, 3 times stronger than CBD for pain, cannabigerol. CBG, it is exceptionally good at protecting the nerves too. So for people that are like showing signs of dementia or showing signs of Parkinson's or showing signs of like any kind of tic and shaking, CBG has shown to help reduce the amount of uncontrolled movement. CBD is probably the second most famous, and this one is for calm and being able to take the anxiety out of your chest. And then of course the last one, CBN. CBN is the sleep molecule. Cannabinol is exceptionally good. It's way safer than melatonin because melatonin your body naturally produces, and if you're taking too much of it, our bodies are super lazy. Like the moment that it doesn't have to do something, it will not. And so if it doesn't have to produce melatonin, that means you're going to have a lot of insomnia when you run out, or you're going to have to start increasing the dosage, which then can become less than desirable. So these need to go somewhere, and that is through the ECS, the endocannabinoid system in our bodies. Like I had mentioned, it works locally, and it is the middleman between our autonomic and our somatic nervous systems, or our central and peripheral. Now, this is an actual person. This comes from that demented art installation where the guy stole bodies and like showed it to the world. Yeah, that's one of the stolen bodies. So here is your central nervous system in the middle, and then the peripherals, just like a tree. This is the tap root, and then this is everything else. These would be the branches and the leaves and the stems, right? And so the ECS has also been shown to be associated with things like frequent migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia. These are all signs of not having enough cannabinoids in your system. And like we mentioned, not all of them get you high. So if you're able to consume more CBD and CBG, CBC, you'll see that your body will start to thank you and respond in kind. It's really kind of cool. So happy nerves, happy life. We have these kinds of things at our booth. You can come and talk to us about it. They're all medical grade. Like our sleep gummy has 30 milligrams of CBN. If you were to go to a dispensary, the most you'll find is 5 milligrams per gummy. But the thing is, we don't have THC in it. It's got CBD, non-psychoactive, and it's an isolate. Yes.
I've used CBD before, but it made my mouth dry.
Ah, interesting. So like I would think that if your mouth were getting dry with that use, I would be curious to know if it were full spectrum or an isolate or if it were broad spectrum, because they sometimes will process the cannabis and they'll have adder, typically like a medium, like a coconut oil or something like that if they're being good, or a canola oil if they're being bad. And sometimes those additional ingredients can cause things like dry mouth. So I would have to see the product and I'd be able to, yeah. Is that helpful for y'all? Excellent. All right. So the other thing is Tai Chi, just like what you saw, like being able to have some fun, managing your pain, having a movement practice. It could be yoga, but I prefer Tai Chi and Qigong because one of the byproducts is self-defense. You're able to use all the same motions that would help you feel better and improve your circulation, and you can use it to martially do something if you needed to. You know, hey, no means no, right? Like, and we use our voice. One of the things we like to teach, like with the hand up like this, right? I teach them this is, give me my money. We call this give me my money. Because this is a very intimidating experience, right? No, give me my money, right? No, you shorted me $10. Give me my money. You're in another country. They're like, I don't know. And you're like, give me my money. Now, I want to get louder, but I'm trying not to. It's a small space. But that's called lion's roar in Qigong and Tai Chi. It's being able to project your voice so much that your voice echoes off the buildings. And they go, okay, yeah, oh, sorry, miscounted. My bad, right? That's what you want. You want them to play it off because you can get yours. So having a strong voice is just as important as having a strong body. Now, like I had mentioned, looking at our autonomic things that just happen automatically and looking at the somatic aspects of life, the things that we physically are touching, interacting with, we have to find that middle ground. We have to be able to feel comfortable knowing what we unconsciously are doing in our rhythm and how it reflects in our rituals. Some people don't pay attention to their straight line. Some people just kind of randomly just do the thing. And like origami, anybody ever done origami? Yeah? Who here has never done origami? Who here has never heard of origami? Okay, I was going to say, I'd be surprised. I would explain. But yes, if you've never done origami before, sometimes people will use tools in order to get a straight line because of how difficult it is to line up a piece of paper. So that's the same thing with our lives. Like there are certain things you got to find alignment with, and it takes a whole lot of effort and a little know-how. So that's kind of like the meat of it. So now when you're creating your ritual and looking at how it's going to impact your rhythm, you first want to reflect. Step one is to reflect, okay? You want to know what kind of life do you want to create. If you don't know where you're going and you don't know where you're at, there's no way that you could call an Uber, right? If you don't know where to tell them to pick you up, how are you going to get to your destination? Two, you got to identify the rhythm in your life already existing. What are your natural cycles? Are you a night owl? If you're a night owl, don't try to become an early bird. Embrace the night owl and find out how to be productive. And where is the cutoff? Where is the cutoff before you are in excess, right? Then three, to designing what it is these rituals are going to be doing for you, right? Start small, focus on the consistency. Starting with just one thing that you add and you can keep doing is going to feel way better than a laundry list of things that you never get done and you resent that's on your wall. Okay. Number 4, implement. Start with those 1 to 2 key rituals and build from there. Let that be your cornerstone, and then keep adding to it, always touching one corner till eventually it's in the center. And now by the time you've really refined yourself, you're like, wow, this is where I was and this is where I am. And you can see the stark difference, and you can help others, right? Because the highest level of our medicine is 1, knowing, educating, and then the culture of passing it to others, so that then the Tao is the whole community is benefiting from learning to improve themselves. That's the highest level of this medicine. And that's why we do this. Being the better version of myself, like the best gift I can give my family is my health. I'm going to repeat that. The best gift you can give your family is your health. And so I make that a top priority. And I want to encourage you to do the same. Because number 5 is that adjustment, right? You got to be flexible and willing. In Africa, when they say, are you serious? Especially like in Nigeria, they say, are you serious? Well, in America, what does that mean? Are you serious? Are you serious? No, are you serious? Are you serious? Oh yeah, she's serious, and then laughs. I love it. See, that's her inner child. Okay, that's great. So when they ask you, are you serious? That means, are you going to do something about it?
Yeah.
Because like if I say, no, I'm serious, that means, oh, he's going to physically act upon this. I'm going to interject myself into the situation in a very somatic way. I might be some mad at someone, right? So these are the kind of things you got to consider. So when you're making these adjustments, you need to find your routine and be able to adapt and shift, just like in Tai Chi, shifting your weight to your toe and pivoting and knowing, okay, my knees are made of tofu, so I know how to be gentle on these knees, but still push through and get to where I need to be. So that's why I like these overlapping principle-based practices. And that's like the number 1 thing when it comes to pain. Having principles in place will give you what to do when you feel in crisis. So here's an example of a morning ritual, super simple, right? This is the marvelous Miss Maisel. That guy's so funny. I have a morning routine. A simple morning routine, it can include just some simple things like time to yourself, journaling, doing movement, drinking water, staying hydrated. We're mostly water. Like, don't even get me started. My next subject I'm going to talk to y'all about is going to be water. So just look out for it, okay? Because we are mostly water. And if you think improving your food is going to give you the results, that's only 40% of the problem. Like, if you only dealt with 40% of your financial problems, are you ever going to get out of debt? No, if 60% of it is what? We're mostly water, and it is all inside of our cells, and they're teeny tiny. They're the reason why there's empty space. So, it's like the water aspect will change some of the most, it can create some of the most profound changes in unexpected ways. And that's a whole nother subject. Our evening ritual, this is Adventure Time. It's another silly cartoon, if you have kids. Would be like being able to wind down using different products like our CBN, CBG, CBC to know how we act, knowing our rhythm at night. Some people get a second wind. Anybody get a second wind after 9 p.m.? That's really challenging, right? You get that little chill. You're like, oh, it's time to go to bed. And then getting cleaned up, you're like, I just woke myself up getting cleaned up. Stupid shower, stupid teeth brushing. Then you go back to watch a TV or something of that nature. Knowing that about yourself, how can you mitigate it? That's the fun. That's where it becomes a game. Health and wellness should be a game. You should see it as like engaging, lighthearted. And that's why I do these one-on-one coaching, being able to talk with people, help them walk them through using Chinese medical principles to get them to the place that they want to be. And if it's not me, I have a vast network, and I will call upon my network and I will bring them in and tie people together and get them where they need to be. So that's where that comes in. That's what the R&R can provide. But come and talk to me. You could scan the QR if you like, or you can come to the booth, do in 10 minutes. chit chat with me. Find out like what you're going through. If you want a second opinion on it, if you want me to translate something that you're experiencing into Chinese medicine and seeing how might that be addressed from that perspective, come talk to me. It's fun. I'm lighthearted. My job is for you to forget that you're talking to a doctor and just have fun. Okay? All right. The other thing is it does come with an online community. It's free. You can join the community and scanning the QR. You can also learn about it at the booth. But this online portal allows us space to be national and international because I travel and I see people in other states and other places, but our offerings have always been in person. And being in person is great, wouldn't you say? Right? And on Zoom, it may translate across. You guys can leave a comment and let me know if you can feel the energy. But there's still a little something that comes with being in person. So, and this is the bridge between the two. And then the last one is just explaining our ecosystem briefly as we wind down. I founded Organic and Chi Up Academy. One's for-profit, one's nonprofit. Organic Wellness is a challenge to the status quo. We deal with health literacy and cultural preservation. Organic is a term to describe hope or natural bravery, being able to find joy. When somebody says that you won't be able to do something, organic, taking the step to try CBN rather than a high-grade pharmaceutical sleep aid, right? And then this logo, Tu Ren, is two Chinese characters. Tu meaning earth, Ren meaning person. It means a native person, an aboriginal, made of clay. It represents the legend of John Henry, and he's an American hero who fought against the steam engine when it came to laying railroad ties. And he broke through the mountain and he sacrificed, he was the martyr to prove that the steam engine would not compare to human ingenuity. He died on the other side, but he made his point. Fatal point. All right, and I'm going to skip the video in this part here because of time, but Chi Up and Chi Up Academy, this is my friend Steve Gaines, and he sadly was murdered in 2021 at a hospital looking for help.
Oh gosh.
And they still haven't really given justice for Zumbi. So instead of taking an aggressive approach, we said, how can we make sure that there are less people experiencing these kinds of tragedies? And so that's where Chi Up comes from. He would say, I'm going to go Chi Up before I meet up with you, meaning he was going to go raise his spirits, do movement, be able to be conscious and aware when he gets to you. So that's what we teach the kids. And this video kind of breaks down him talking about our relationship and him being my friend, big brother like, and all that jazz. From that, we have our free Chi initiative. So every Tuesday and Thursday in Oakland, we have free body work with our student massage therapists who I mentor and train. And then we also have Chi Up Academy's Tai Chi Qigong. And that's 6:30 to 7:30. And I teach that class. So I'm supervising in the afternoon and then get to see me show off some moves. And Christian here can tell you, is it fake?
No, not at all. I was about to say, you can see him do his moves on me because I'm the one that gets tossed around.
Yes.
I will say that it is super relatable, and all the movements that he teaches you in that context, you do every day. So, and it's just putting it in the context where it can potentially help you get out of the situation. It's beautiful. It's completely changed my life. So,
Yeah, he's a poster child. Like I bought a poster and put him on. And lastly, thank you for your time. If you'd like, you can come by the booth. You can scan the QR to learn more. But that is my time. I appreciate all of you. I'm Dr. Dan, signing out. Have a wonderful evening. I'll be at it again tomorrow. I'm going to do it again. 12 o'clock. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.